It's strength in finding resilience beyond your circumstances. What is up, you guys? I'm Zakia Monet, and welcome to the Finding Your Way podcast, where we share stories about hardships and share ways to not let our circumstances define us. Like you, we just here to find our way. What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Finding Her Way. My name is Zakia. I go by Zakia Monet on all social media platforms. And welcome to another episode. You know, we always start with a journal entry. So go ahead and get your journals out. Or go ahead and get ready to type in the comment section. Today's journal entry will be, what is the hardest part about being a mom? Again, what is the hardest part about being a mom? I would say the hardest part about being a mom for me, I feel like, is the balance. Figuring out how to balance everything and figuring out how to find time for myself. That's my answer. Let me know what you guys' answer are in the comments. Write it in your journal. Say it out loud. Put it in the DM. You know, just do something. We need some kind of interaction with ourselves. You know, we need to get this stuff out, because I got some stuff I need to talk about today. So before every episode, I try to pray on what I need to say, and pray God guides me in the right direction, and pray that I'm not stumbling on my words. Pray that pray that you guys are able to receive the message that I'm saying and get the gist of every episode. So this episode, just like any other, I prayed, and I don't know if I'm gonna necessarily struggle with this episode because it's such a sensitive topic for me, and I think I'm struggling with my truth in my journey. So in this episode, I'm going to be talking about being a teen mom and my journey as a single mom, and you know, I'm going to talk about some things. This episode is not to bash anyone. It's not to, you know, it's not that. It's just me telling my truth and me not being afraid to tell my truth. I started this podcast just off of a shift of the nonprofit that I'm starting, which is called Finding Her Way, hence Finding Her Way podcast. And the gist of the Finding Her Way nonprofit is to basically cater to the women who have struggled with domestic violence, single moms, and teen moms. And I just so happen to be all three. That's the whole purpose of me starting the nonprofit. And so I am a teen mom. Well, I was a teen mom twice. I had my first baby at 15. I got pregnant at 15, had my first baby at 16. Pregnant at 15, had her at 16. Pregnant again at 17, had him at, pregnant again at 16, had him at 17. So I didn't have no gaps. There wasn't no gaps. There wasn't no nothing. I just went back to back. And then, as you guys know from one of my previous podcast episodes, I lost my first child. But in still losing her, I still had time. I still had a little bit, like a couple of weeks with her, just to refresh you guys' memory. So I basically just want to talk about, my process and my journey as a single mom and teen mom. I just want to, talk about that. And this is also kind of like therapy for me, because I'm reliving everything. And like I say a lot of times, like, I don't talk about everything as I go through them. I kind of just swipe them under the rug and just go along my day and go along my life. And then until years later, I'm stuck with dealing with all these emotions that I didn't get out. So I kind of just want to go through that whole journey for me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to my story or relate to my journey. So I kind of just want to, connect with some people and, just talk about my journey a little bit. And so you guys can get to know me better. And I also just want to get these feelings out, because I feel like I have a lot of pent-up frustration, a lot of pent-up feelings. And like I said, this video is not to bash anyone. It's just to tell my truth, what I'm struggling with, and what I have struggled with. So as a teen mom of two kids, well, one living and one that has passed, that has been a journey all in itself, because you're still dealing with the grief of losing a child and then having a child here on earth, but still trying to make that child feel seen and heard and important, and tending to their emotions and doing all these things while still trying to, I guess for me, I'm still trying to cater to those feelings of grief and those emotions that I felt after losing my first child. Because that connection is still there. You still feel that connection. You still feel that bond. It's just the child is no longer here for me. I don't know about a lot of people, because some people detach or try to, like move on from the situation. But me, it's just like I went through a lot of after that happened, I went a lot of years trying to detach, honestly, and trying to not think about it. Like I was telling you guys in that episode, it was a point where I was telling people I only had one kid, which is my son that's living. I wasn't even acknowledging the child that passed. And so as I grew older, that started to mess with me, because I felt like I was kind of just doing away with my first baby, and I didn't want, I still like to think that she has feelings, and she still, I still like to think, even though she's not here on earth, I still like to think that, she has feelings and she's wondering why my mommy doesn't acknowledge me. I still like to think like that, just to keep her alive in me, I think. And so I still think that way. So as I grew older, I'm still working on acknowledging her and doing things in her name and keeping her name alive, and just, talking to her and praying with her, not praying to her, but, having those conversations that I would if she was here. So I'm still trying to, balance that, all while still making sure my child feels like he isn't getting, I'm not gonna say, I don't want to say sloppy seconds. He's getting me as a mom. He's getting me in my full totality. Like he's getting his full mom. So I'm just struggling. I struggled with that for a little bit. So being a teen mom twice, that wasn't an easy road at all, because I went through so much in my first pregnancy. I often question myself, why did I get pregnant a second time? I went through, like I said, this is not to bash anyone. This is not to go on that whole little, go down that little road again. It's just to tell my truth, living my truth, and, relate to people that's like me, because not a lot of people talk about all these things. It can be embarrassing, for one, and two, some people just they're not comfortable with sharing a lot of things that they've been through. But me, I've always wanted to connect and form a group and have a community of women who are like me and who have been through the things that I've been through. And so as a teen mom, like that, you have so many struggles, because from one, you're in school, two, you're a teenager, you're a baby, so you're dealing with the judgment, you're dealing with the backlash, you're dealing with a lot of things in that. And three, you're still trying to live a life. So it's so many things that you're struggling with, and I went through a lot of those different things. I went through the judgment, I went through the looks, I went through all of that while being in school, and I dealt with the disappointment in teachers, and when I was pregnant the first time, my pediatrician told me she was so disappointed in me, and that's so hard to hear, but it's just it is what it is. I'm not the first person, and I won't be the last, and that was what somebody told me, and that made me feel it didn't make me feel better about the situation, but it made me have hope that I can do something different. And besides that, I have already a few family members in my family that have that a while years ago had kids while they were young. So it kind of wasn't a new thing in my family. So that's just what it was. But it was still having to deal with the judgment, the looks, and the looks at church, and people talking about you, and going that was a whole different thing. But dealing with the personal, that was a whole my pregnancy was so crazy both times. Both times my children weren't claimed. And I wasn't even a girl that was out there. I was in a committed relationship. Like that. I'm a committed girl. Like I'm a love girl. Like I just like being in a relationship. I like being in love. I love love. I'm a love girl. So like being out there and doing crazy stuff like that, it just wasn't my thing. So for somebody to question my fidelity, it was just like, come on now, like you playing with me, and when men do that, it's them doing it. So that just, but in like being that young, that really hurt my feelings, and I wasn't really thinking like I am now, but like being really young, it was just a different time. So I dealt with my kids not being claimed originally. They wanted a DNA test for my kids, both of my kids, both times, which was crazy and insane to me. I caught diseases both times, and it was just a big thing. And in my first pregnancy, it was really crazy because like I'm going through all this in my personal while having to focus on my kid that's going through health problems. Like I should be focusing on like school and my kid, like trying to figure out like how can I raise a healthy baby? Like how can I even like outside of raising a healthy baby, I need to be able to get her home first because it wasn't even a guarantee that my baby will come home. So I have to deal with all of this. Like you added, like, come on now. So it was a lot. Like with my first pregnancy, it was just like I said, I caught STDs. Like it was just a lot, and they was trying to say it was me, and like it was just a whole thing. It was just a whole thing. And I'm not even that type of girl. Like I'm not even that type of girl. I promise you, I'm not that type of girl. I'm the sweetest girl. Like I said, I'm a lover girl. Like I'm a relationship girl. Like that's me. That's my thing. Like I'm just now starting to date around. Like even with that, I'm not even a girl that's really out there for real. So for that, like that was like looking back on it now, it's pretty comical because like what we really talking about here? Like what are we really talking about here? But yeah, like that's a few of the things that I kind of went through with that first pregnancy. You know, having to make sure my daughter was healthy and having to figure out, like, come up with a plan with the doctors on what I need to do as far as getting her healthy and, you know, outside of even bringing her home, because like I said, it wasn't a guarantee that I would be able to bring her home. So having to constantly, you know, go back and forth with the doctors, traveling distance, traveling to Raleigh probably every other week, then eventually every week. So that was like a lot. And while still trying to balance school. And at this time, I didn't have a problem with my education. I pretty much planned my education to where by the time I was a senior year, I only had like 2 classes, the first or second semester. I only had 2 classes. So the way I did it, like I'm grateful. Like I was able to think, and you know, I was head first in my books. I was always that kind of girl. So I'm grateful for that. That was me, but I was pregnant twice in high school. So that was like I did get behind a lot in a lot of my schoolwork. I missed a lot of school. Like it was just a lot. So I commend any single parent that has made it to raise their kids to be all that they saw them to be and all that they wanted to be, because I'm still going through that process of like transitioning from a single mom to an adult mom and trying to raise my son in the way that I want him to be, and you know, like not have him be so because I don't want to say it wrong, I want him to be whatever he wants to be and more. I don't want him to be a product of his environment. I don't want him to be, you know, like go down the wrong path like me or his other parent did, or I just don't want that for him. I want whatever, you know, makes him happy. I want a good life for him, and that's my goal. Like that's my ultimate goal, and that's what I'm so badly working towards. So like I feel like I'm getting off track a little bit, so let me, you know, go back. But you know, like being a single mom, like that was just so wild to me. like you watch the show, you always like I grew up watching the show Teen Mom, and watching the show to eventually that being me, like who would have thought? But when you're young and doing grown woman things, like that's what happens. So like I said, I went through a lot of the cheating, I went through a lot of catching STDs. Like it was just bad, and the sad thing about it is I went through that both times in my pregnancy. So like you would think I would catch that in the first pregnancy, and not even have that lead up to a second one, but that wasn't me. Like being in love, being a young girl, thinking I'm in love, and all this other stuff. I just, it was all butterflies. Like it was all butterflies in my mind. It was just, it happened. I was mad. We went through that, and it was just over after that. But I went through a lot of different things in my pregnancies. Like I just went through a lot of different things. Like it was always a fight. It was always a fight. It was always an argument about something about the kids. It was always something going on. It was always like me being questioned as a woman and as a parent. It was always that kind of thing, and it was just hard for me. It was really hard for me. It was really hard for me to move forward, but I did it, and I'm so proud of myself for not letting the man stop me from doing what I need to do for my kids, because that's one thing I always did. Like I always made sure I was doing stuff for my kids. It was hard for me to do anything really with my first child because for one, I wasn't old enough to really work for real. But when I got pregnant, I wasn't really old enough to work for real. But I did get my first job when I was 16. So by the time I had my second child, I was already working full time, going to school full time. Well, part time because I only had 2 classes left. So I was working and going to school. But with my first pregnancy, it was hard for me to do anything for myself. Not do anything for myself, but it was really hard for me to try to provide for my child because I wasn't old enough to work, and it was hard for me to. And when I was, because I don't think it was. Okay, I'll take that back. It wasn't that I wasn't old enough for me to work. It was hard for me to find a job or find somebody that would take me at 15. I think that was really the thing. But either way, it was what it was. And then with the first pregnancy, I was so scared to do anything and buy anything because I didn't know if she was coming home, and we really didn't do anything. Like I didn't even get a crib. I didn't even have a baby shower. I didn't have none of that because it was just like, what if? And so like, if I was able to take her home, then the baby shower and all the other stuff would have happened eventually after she got home. But I wasn't able to have that, so I don't feel like I enjoyed. Like I wasn't able to do the things that pregnant women normally do at that age. Like, like not at that age, but I wasn't able to do the things that pregnant women usually do. So that was kind of hard for me, and like having to face the reality that my baby might not come home. And so like, just think about all the things, like all of those things that I just mentioned. Just think about going through that as a 15-year-old. Just think about having to go through all of that. And it's just like, so a lot of those things, like I didn't have to go through. I could have just left that man alone, but I didn't, and it is what it is, but we're here now. But it's just like, just thinking about all of that stuff, like, girl. So by the time after my daughter passed, I wanted so badly to have a baby. And so the plan was to have another baby. And so I got pregnant. I know the exact date when I got pregnant. I know when I conceived. I know where it was at. I know what time it was. Like, I know all of that stuff. It was December 24th. It was nighttime. Yeah, no, and I ain't gonna get into much. But it was December 24th. That's when I conceived my second child. And I don't know why I remember that so vividly, but that's just what I remember about that. But so I got pregnant again. I was 16 at the time and had him at 17. With this pregnancy, I went through the same things. I was still in school. I was in my senior year, or was I going? I was a junior going into my senior year. No, I was a senior. I think. Yeah, I was a senior in high school, still going through the same things that I was going through in my first pregnancy, but this time it's just, it was so different because I didn't have the scarcity of not bringing my baby home. I knew for a fact my baby was coming home because we did all the tests, ran all the tests. This was a healthy baby boy. I didn't have to go through all of that I went through with the first pregnancy. So that was a good thing with this one. But I was still going through the same things. Like, I was still going through the infidelity. I was still going through with catching stuff and, you know, having to deal with all of that. You know, like, that was just like, I just don't know what to say about it, because it just is what it is at this point. But yeah, so that pregnancy, it wasn't really that pregnancy, I think I just went through a more drama with, like, the whole boyfriend thing. I think that's just mainly what it was, because I worked. I made sure I worked all the way up to the day I had my baby. Literally, I worked that Sunday. I had my baby that Monday. I worked up until I worked that Sunday, and I had my baby the next morning, which was Monday. So I literally worked all up and through that pregnancy. But I went through a lot within that pregnancy. I went through, like I said, I went through the same things that I was going through with the first pregnancy, the STDs, the cheating, all the other stuff, and like, it was just a lot of drama with that. It was a lot of drama. And then, like, now as I grow older, it was a lot of control. Like, it was a lot of, like, that was kind of the start of the control and all of that other things coming about. It was just like a lot, like popping up to my job and, you know, like, just crazy stuff like that. It was just crazy. It was just so crazy. Like, now that I look back on it, it was just like, girl, like, you really, like, this nigga really took you through the damn ringer. Like, he really took you through the damn ringer. And like I said, this is not to bash anybody, but this is just to tell my truth. How anybody take it is up to them. Like, I really don't care. This is my truth. I started this nonprofit to tell my truth. I started this nonprofit to connect with women who have been through the things that I have been through. And so telling my story is a part of, like, letting people in and forming this community. And so, yeah, I was a teen mom twice. I, you know, struggled a little bit mentally, but it wasn't to the point where, you know, as it grew, like, as I got older, as it wasn't as bad as it was as I got older. But, you know, it was just a lot. And you don't realize how much you go through until after, like, years later, for me, in my case. And so, being a teen mom and, like, having to go through those different things, it's so important to have resources and be connected to people that are in your same situation, and people who know people that can help you. And so while I was in school, they had this teen mom group with women who have had kids young. So that was really a good thing for me. And in that group, I started they had a lot of resources into education, and a lot of resources for, like, parenting classes, and a lot of resources on, like, diapers and pampers and diapers and stuff like that. Pampers and diapers is the same thing, girl. What the hell? Diapers and wipes. You know, things that the essentials that your baby needs, like things like that, car seats, you know, all of this stuff. Teaching you, like, I guess teaching you how to be, like, teaching you about safety with the newborn, and teaching you about, like, the different resources that are outside of school and all this other stuff. And it was basically like a community. It was really good. And I feel like if they don't still have that, I hope they, you know, implement that again. I hope they still have it. I would hope they still have that, because that was really a good tool to have. So I was in that, and while I was in that, I was also able to apply. This is when they were starting to do the early college thing. So I was able to start college while I was in high school. So that was a good thing, but I didn't finish, because I just don't think college was for me. It's not for everybody, but I just don't think that role was for me, because I started and stopped so many times. And I started and stopped because, like, it was just so many things going on. It was just like, whether I didn't have nobody watch my baby, whether it was like breaking schedule, it was just so much going on. I was just like, what is, I think for me, it was just like a matter of what is more important, providing for your child or school. And at that point, I just needed the money to provide for my son. So it was just work. And so I worked 2 jobs at a time. And even that got hectic because it was always a complaint of somebody watching my child. So that was a thing. So I had to stick to one job so I can just be there for my son at night. So it was just like being a single mom was like such a struggle. And like I had help from time to time from the other side, and it was just like that was cool, but it was just like I need the father to, you know, do what he needs to do. And even with that, I was just so lenient because he was going through a lot in within himself and, you know, at home. And so I was just trying to be lenient, and I wasn't really like raw on him about helping me. But like I just feel like something needed to have happened, but that wasn't the case. So I was just stuck like with that load, and I've been stuck with that load ever since my kid was a kid. And so it was just like I can name probably like 2 or 3 times where I've received help from, you know, him, or, you know, as far as that go, but everything else is on me. And that's just like, that's such a struggle for me because it's been hard, bro. Like it's been so hard and so much pressure. It's just been it's so much in being a single mom that I don't think these men understand. Or even if you're a single dad, I don't think, like, it's so important you choose the right person to have kids by. That is so important. That is so important to choose wisely who you have kids with. Who you have kids with, because kids don't mature everybody at a faster rate. And sometimes, like, I feel like women mature faster when kids are involved than men do. Some men initially come around, some get it right when it happens, but everybody isn't like that. And unfortunately, that wasn't my case. And so I've been struggling with this. I've been like, this has been like so hard for me. This has been so hard for me, and I'm trying not to cry. It's just been so hard because, like, when you constantly have somebody trying to tell you what kind of mama you are and what kind of person you are, what kind of woman you are, constantly putting you down, saying slick shit all the time, like talking about you to people and your situation, and it's just like, it's been so hard. It's just been so hard trying to co-parent, trying to be on one page with somebody else whose only goal has to be to put you down. Honestly, and I've been such a good sport. I've been such a good person until I wasn't. And I would just snap, and it would just like, then it would be like, see, this the crazy bitch right here, you know, like, then it would just flip on that. But that's not it. Like, I'm trying to work with you, like, I'm trying, but you're only giving me 5%. What can I do with that? What can I do with that? And I've tried to be so compassionate, you know, and so understanding of somebody's situation, whether it was they couldn't get it, like they just weren't okay mentally, or a job situation, like they weren't able to get a job, or like, I've just been so patient and so understanding. But it's just like, it's only so much a person can take when somebody is constantly trying to put you down. And so, like, this journey of being a single mom has been just so hard for me. It's just been so hard. And it was even a point where I did slip up. Like, because like, when you're looking at somebody, like, after the relationship is done and it's just you and your child, and then you see how your ex-partner is treating another woman, and you're looking at that, and it looks like on the outside, it looks as if that person is treating them so much better than they did you. They're doing stuff with them, like they're taking them out on dates, like they're taking them out on trips, and like, you're looking at that like, damn, like, why couldn't I get that? And so, like, you're trying to rekindle things in hopes like they would get it, you know, like they will do that with you, when in actuality, a man is gonna treat, like, a man is gonna do right by the woman that he wants to do right with. That's just the gist of it. Like if like it don't have to be nothing wrong with you. Like you can just be the wrong person. Like y'all can just be not compatible. It doesn't have anything to do with you. It's not always like something is wrong with you. It's just like y'all not compatible. He just doesn't want to do those things with you, and he just doesn't want to do that thing for you. Like it's just not that. So I just struggled with that, and I had to step up for a little bit. But after a while, it was just like, it just wasn't worth it. And so on a journey of trying to be a single mom, like I went through a lot of highs and lows with that, and trying to co-parent and trying to do the right thing and trying to show my son a healthy relationship between his parents, because I didn't see that. I never had that. Like I saw plenty of fights with my parents. Like I witnessed a lot of that. It wasn't to the extent that my son has seen with me and his dad, as far as like the domestic violence and my son being taken from me twice and things like that. But it wasn't to that extent, but I still witnessed it. So I didn't want that for my son, and it's so unfortunate that he had to have the childhood that he had. But I'm trying so hard to fix it, and I'm trying to fix it, I feel like, on my own. And it's just like, I don't know, like I'm just struggling a little bit. I'm struggling with I think I'm just struggling with figuring out what is best for my son, and like how to go about different things, and trying to show him how to treat a woman. Like I can't, it's only so much I can do as a mom. It's only so much I can do. And I feel like a child, like a boy especially, needs to see a good man. Like I feel like they need to see that. They need that male role model, and my son does not have that. He doesn't have a male role model to look up to. So I think I'm just struggling with how to raise my son, and making sure that I'm doing the right thing, and making sure that we're on the right path of healing, and he's healing, and he's getting the things that he needs, and his emotions are tended to, and he's taken care of financially and emotionally, because everything is on me. And that's a lot of pressure. Like that's a lot of pressure, like having to try to heal yourself and get yourself together as a person, and trying to tend to a human that you're obligated to. You have to tend to their needs and their wants and everything of that nature. So it's just been a struggle. Like right now, I'm currently in a legal, like a custody thing. I have full custody, and my child is not. He can't be around his other parent, unfortunately. So I'm going through that whole thing, and it's just like having to deal, like trying to have these conversations with my son, and making sure he's good, and have these weekly checkups, and how he's doing emotionally. And my son is just like, he's not okay, and I can see that he's not okay, and I'm trying to tell the other parent that he's not okay, and it's just like, it's so hard, because like in their minds, since I can't see him, then what am I like? What I need to do anything for? In their minds. So it's just like, I don't know, it's just like moms, like whether you're married or single, like moms just, we have to take on so much, though. We have to take on so much. Like I was just talking to my friend about it. Like I was just talking to my friend, because she's married, she's newly married, and she was talking about how her and her husband was taking her daughter to school, and I admired that so much, because usually it's a mom, like a mom sitting in the line by themselves. And I feel like it's so important for a child to see that. Like I feel like it's so, even like something as simple as that, it's so important. I'm so proud of her for doing that, and I admire that so much. It's so like we need more of that, especially in the Black community. Like it really doesn't matter what community, but especially in the Black community, because we have so much trauma within our group. Like it's just so important for kids to see that. And I just hate that my child I just hate that he doesn't get to see the happier side of that. And I just pray that he eventually gets to, like with the next man that comes into our life. I'm not in a rush for it. I'm not looking for it. But with the next man that does come into my life, I do hope that they are able to show my son a different way of life. And so I'm just like, right now, until then, it's just like me and him, and I'm having to focus and get my head in the game and figure out like what's next for us. Like where do I go from here? This happened, so now what? I'm in therapy, So I'm getting the tools, and I'm trying to get the resources to make me a better person so I can be a better mom. So this journey has just been, being a mom isn't easy, but it's so rewarding, bro. Like, it's so rewarding. Like, his hugs, like, he don't know how much he heals me. He just hear him say mommy, like, I just love that so much. And I wish I wish so badly I could have both of my kids and it just be us in our own little, our own little shack and our own little huddle and our own little home. And I just want that. I just wish I had that so badly, but for right now, like, he just doesn't understand how much he heals me. Like, when we're not tussling, when we're not going back and forth, like, that's mine. Like, that's my baby. Like, I would do anything for him. And sometimes I just don't think he's appreciative of that. And so, like, he's getting to an age where he's getting, like, soon I'm gonna have a teenager, and I'm not ready to go through that. Like, I'm just not ready for the attitude. Like, I'm already getting it now. Like, I'm just not ready for that. Like, we're in a weird space right now, and I'm just trying to get us to a place where we relearn each other, because we learn each other in a hurtful way, like in a hurtful space in our lives. Like, I don't want him to just know me as mom that went through all of this trauma and went through all of this hurt, and is trying to get her son together, and is trying to get herself together, and is trying to heal from a thing that she shouldn't have had to have gone through in the first place. So I'm trying to get him to unlearn that woman and get him to know a woman that's healed, that's happy, that's just willing to do whatever for her baby. Like, I just want him to know that person and get him to learn that person and get him to learn a woman who's so confident in herself and in her parents, and that, the sky's the limit, that anything is possible, that it's just like, he knows his mama's gonna get it done. Like, he already knows that. He knows, like, and I feel like that's why I'm just having a tough time with him right now, because usually sometimes a child takes their frustration out on the parent that's there 24/7. They don't give it to the parent that's not there. They give the other parent respect and all this other stuff, but they don't do that. They don't give that same respect to the parent that's there for them 24/7. The parent that's taking care of them while they're sick. The parent that knows them through and through, inside out. They don't do that. They only give that to the parent that ain't there. So I'm just trying to get him to come around to the other side and get him off of death row. I'm just trying to get him to come over to the other side, but I'm struggling a lot. Like, I make it a point, and I make sure that I don't bash the other parent. I make it a point to not, talk about the other parent while he's in the room or while he's home. I just make that, that is so important to me. That is so important. I don't want to taint my son's relationship with the other parent. Like, that's not the kind of woman that I am. Like, I just don't want to do that at all. But it's just been a struggle, it's like motherhood is a struggle, but in the end, like, it's so worth it, because there's so many women who can't have kids. It's just like, it's some women who can't have kids, but I don't know. Like, I'm just learning. I think I'm just, like, learning how to take care of me so I can take care of my son. Like, that's ultimately the goal. That's ultimately the goal, to take care of me so I can take care of my son, so I can make sure my son is, like, healthy mentally and physically. He has everything that he needs. So I don't know. It's just been a task. It's just been so much BS after BS going on, and I'm trying to stay sane in a world that's so chaotic, because I'm just tired of chaos being a norm for me. Like, I'm just tired of functioning in chaos. Like, who wants to constantly have to go through shit? Like, who wants to constantly have to go through shit and try to, like, oh my gosh. It's just been a fight. It's just been a fight. it's just really been a fight. And I don't know. But I know one thing, I'm gonna come out of this thing. I'm gonna come out of this thing. I'm just like it's just taking a minute right now. It's just taking a minute right now. But I'm doing like I'm so proud of the work that I have been doing. Like a lot of stuff that he said, like the dad says, like it doesn't bother me. Like it doesn't bother me as much. Like him putting me down and calling me out my name and doing this other stuff. It doesn't bother me like it used to. So I'm doing so much better on that. I'm so proud of myself on that. So we're gonna clap for that. I am proud of the direction that I'm going in. I know I have a lot of work to do. On this parenting journey, but I'm proud of where I'm going. I'm proud of the things that I'm doing. Like I don't have the village that I would like to have, but I'm gonna figure it out. Like if I don't have to, if I gotta stay in the house until my son is a teenager and is old enough to, watch himself, then I just do that. But I feel like it's so important to make time for yourself as a single mom. It is so important because those days matter. Those days matter. When you don't have time to yourself, you are just a fireball on the loose, and that's just like you don't want that. Like you don't want that. You don't want to be taking your frustration on your kids. Like you don't want to. Like that's how crazy. Like that's how bad things happen. Like when you got so much going on, and so much pent up at you, and then your child do one little thing, and you take all that on your child. Like they don't forget that. They don't forget that, and I make it a point to apologize whenever I'm going through stuff and my child is feeling it. I make sure I correct myself. I make sure I correct myself when I'm wrong. I make sure to let my child know that I was wrong. Because a lot of black parents, y'all really have a tough time with taking accountability. Y'all really have a tough time taking accountability, and I don't like that. So I make it a point to take accountability for my actions. I make it a point so my son can see what it looks like to take accountability, what it looks like to own up to things. So he can, when he's wrong, he can do that. I'm not raising, like when he has his own family, his family comes first. Like I'm not raising no son. Like we're not doing that. Mama, she do like I'm not like if you're wrong, you're wrong. Like I'm just not doing no. I'm not doing that. Like, I'm calling you out when you're wrong. Like, you're wrong. I'm not condoning bad behavior. Like, I'm not condoning it. So, it's a lot of stuff that I feel like I'm just having to teach my son, and it's just hard, bro. Like being a woman and trying to teach your son how to treat a woman and how to treat people and how to go on through this world and how to maneuver through life as a black man. Like, I cannot do that. I haven't had the experiences of a black man. Black women go through a lot themselves, but I feel like we both have it hard, but I feel like black men have it harder in the society that we are in today. Like, they've always had it harder, I feel like. But I just like, it's only so much I can teach him, so I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just struggling with that, because I feel like that's a debate, too. I feel like that is something that I would love to have a debate with a man about, because sometimes like I'm on the edge about if a black woman can raise a black man to be to be successful and to be not in the streets and to do, because it's been done. Like it's been done. It's so many single moms that have raised great men, like it's been done. I know that, but in the society today, can that be done? Can a mom raise their son by themselves without a man's guidance, to be a successful young man, to be a man who doesn't, who isn't led astray? I don't know. I feel like that can be 50-50. I don't know. I guess it depends on the environment. I guess it depends, on a lot of different factors. So that's something I kind of want to debate about. But, like I don't know. It's just like it's just been a time. It's honestly been a time, and feel good letting all of this out because it's just been a lot of pent up frustration, and you don't want to talk to certain people about it, or you don't want to talk to them about it because you don't want to look like you're a bad mom or you can't handle it. Because God wouldn't give it to you unless like you couldn't handle it. He wouldn't give it to you. So it's just like I'm just trying to keep that in mind, and just trying to keep in mind like I'm equipped for anything. Like I can do this. My son is just I'm not putting anything bad on my son. My son is just, he's gonna be amazing. And I would love to have more kids, but I know right now this is just like I need to focus on this one before I have more kids. And it's so important to have kids with the right person. So that's also another thing. Like I don't want to go through the same experience that I had with that one. Like I just don't. Like who wants to go through that again? Who wants to go through it again? Like I don't. So I'm just, it's just a struggle. It's been such a struggle, y'all. And I try every day not to flip my shit. I try every day not to flip my shit, but I feel like I'm doing a good job of trying to, keep it together, show my son what it looks like to, like handle your business, do what you need to do, I don't know. I feel like I have I have a lot more to show him in life. But I'm just like struggling with the fact of if I can do it by myself. So I don't know. Maybe that's something like I need to work on to stop doubting myself so much, because like girl. Y'all, I don't know. It's just like what are you to do? What are you to do? Who are you to call? I don't know. That's why I feel like it's also so important to have groups and community and women to fellowship with and talk to about these things, and without the feeling of being judged. Because sometimes I feel like people be looking at me crazy when I be like, I don't know. And also, I feel like it's a thing to talk about losing relationships when you're pregnant, especially as a teen mom. Because I lost a lot of friendships, I feel like, or people distance themselves from me, I feel like. And I don't know if it was it probably 50-50 was probably the person that I was with at the time, because he was just like, he ruined a lot of my relationships. He ruined a lot of my friendships for me. And it's just like, I don't feel like I'm able to salvage them. And I don't even know if I want to, because of like, I don't know. I just don't want people to feel like that's attached to me. And I don't want people to feel like, to feel like they gotta run away because that's what that was. But y'all, like, let's talk about that for a second. Like losing relationships, or like friendships like disappearing and dissolving when you're pregnant young and you're going through your parenting journey. It's crazy. You need people to talk to. And maybe like that's the importance of these mom groups. Like maybe that's the importance of those. Like have people to talk to when you're going through these different things, pregnant, and like after you're pregnant. So I don't know. That's why I'm so glad that I built this platform, and I'm building a platform to where I can cater to these different women who have been through these different things, because we need a support group. And even after the trauma, like you still need that support group. You don't just need the support group for the trauma. You need the support after it as well. So I don't know. That's ultimately my goal with this nonprofit and with this platform. So I don't know. I hope this episode wasn't all over the place. I hope you understood, like, got the gist of what I was saying. Like, being a mom isn't easy, but it's so worth it. Give yourself some grace. Like, make some time for you. That's the most important advice I can give today on finding her way. Make some time for you, because if you can't make no time for you, then you're not gonna be able to function. You're not gonna be able to function and perform at the level that you need to perform at in order to get through your day to day. You got to make some time to you. Make some time for you. Whether that is waking up earlier than you normally do. I used to wake up at like 5, but now I kind of pushed it because I be tired. But I gotta get back into waking up at 5 o'clock or even 5:45 because like that time was so necessary. Like that time was it was so necessary. You could spend like you feel like you get a lot done in that time when it's just you before you get your kids ready for school or before whatever you gotta do for that day. So just take some time out for you, mama. Just take some time out for you. Take some time out for you, my girl. That's the advice that I got for you today. I hope you like this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share us with a friend. Let us know what you think about this video in the comments. Girl, we got some shit to talk about. We got some more episodes coming your way. You can send us an email. I'm gonna put the email down below for letters or advice or just even talking, like having a conversation. You can do that there. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. See you in the next one. Thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed and took at least one thing, if any, from this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share us with a friend you know. Follow us on Instagram at Finding Her Way Pod, and send us letters or questions to askfhw@gmail.com. We hope to hear from you in the next episode.